Hi, Lisa Schermerhorn here, and you are on my show Where Truth Lies on the Grassroots Warrior Network. And I'm really excited to introduce you to Sean McDonald. He's with a company called, it's actually I Want My Health Back, and the product is it's called Metadichol. I've been using it because I won't promote anything that I haven't used myself. And I'm excited to talk about this product. Sean is the general manager of the Americas of this company, and we're going to talk about this because it really is cutting edge. And my background is working in the quantum field and working as a quantum healer. And we all need boosts from products here and there to help our body run smoothly so that we can get through our lives, especially as we age. So, Sean, welcome. Thank you so much for being here.
Lisa, it's a pleasure to be with you and great to see you again. It's been a while. I know you've been traveling and I hope that's all gone really wonderful for you. So yeah, it's a thrill to be on your show, talk about these wonderful products. And just a little clarification about, the company. Our company's name is Metadichol.
Okay.
I'll explain why that is what it is as we go through the conversation. And together, we're working with you on a movement that we started about 2 years ago called I Want My Health Back. And it's, no surprise in today's world, people really want to be able to take their health back. And this as a healer in your own right. And so we have 3 products in our line that you've been using, and looking forward to talking about your experience and looking forward to sharing some background information about these products. So there are 3 products in the line. One is called NANO SOMA Liquid. That is our daily spray, 5 sprays in the mouth once a day is regular use. As you just held up, I'll hold mine up too. Well, the blur makes it a little. I got to put it in front of my body.
Whoops.
Got to put it in front of my body to make it show. But it's just a liquid spray, truly profound little product. We have a topical gel version of that. So that is the same formula as the spray, a little bit of edible xanthan gum added to it. Makes a water consistency into a gel for topical application. And again, we'll get into more details. And then we have the third product that we developed is a water-based moisturizer cream, which is an incredible product. Now, all 3 of these products have the common active ingredient, which is patented under the name Metadichol. And when people use these products, they have profound results. It's truly remarkable. And so the name of our company, Metadichol, is derived from the patented name Metadichol because the outcome in more often than not is it is magical. It's truly remarkable to see the transformations that people have experienced using these products. So it's great to be here. A little context to what we're going to be talking about today.
Yeah, no, I've been using the products and you bring up the gel because when before I think I had been traveling on this crazy month-long trip to Europe, a part of a movie called Zero Limits, and I was invited to go to it's with Dr. Joe Vitale, and I was invited to go to Prague for a red carpet premiere, and then I was at a film festival in Marbella, Spain, and I had sandals on, and I stubbed my pinky toe, and I heard it crack and snap when it went.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh.
And I only had 2 pair of shoes with me, these fancy sandals and a pair of sneakers. And we were walking like thousands of steps every day. And I thought to myself, I'm only halfway through my trip here. What am I going to do? And I started to use that the topical gel right on my toe. And it was swollen, and I did everything you're not supposed to do, which was walk on it, so it delayed the healing. But what I found is I had no pain. So, I don't know if this is good or bad to talk about, but I was able to function and maneuver and finish the rest of my trip. The toe was healed perfectly fine. I finally rested it when I got back. But I noticed days if I forgot to put it on, there was definitely pain. in that my foot and made it harder for me to manage. So I think it accelerated the pain, the healing, and helped with the pain levels, so I could enjoy the rest of my time across Europe.
Yeah, that is exactly why we decided to make a formula from the liquid, which the liquid spray, that's your daily use. And we commonly like to refer to it as that's how we support the body from the inside out, from that
Right.
cellular level up. The gel and the cream as well, because they all have the same concentration of the active ingredient. When you apply them topically, you're simply hyper focusing that outcome.
Right.
And so we'll get into the details of the patented active ingredient and the how and the why of what you experienced. But that is an extremely common outcome is pain relief, rapid wound healing. I refer to the gel as my first aid kit in a bottle. I
Yeah.
mean, I use it on everything from mosquito bites to kitchen burns, cuts. I have unfortunately cut myself pretty severely a couple of years ago in the kitchen. I like to cook and, got a new food slicer and I was on my first potato, going to make some scallop potatoes. And I bumped the blade and I didn't really feel anything because it's so sharp and such a thin blade. But it was bleeding really bad. And I thought, okay, this is not good. And by the time I got the bleeding under control to where I could at least see it, I realized that I had cut my thumb from the tip about an inch and a half down and nearly into the nail bed. I mean, it should have had, probably a dozen stitches, but I'm me and I just don't go to the allopathic system if I can at all avoid it. I'm also blessed that my wife is an acupuncturist and, she's got Chinese traditional herbal remedies that I was able to help. It was able to help slow the bleeding. And once I got that under control, I just put a good application of the gel on there and bandaged it. I did that morning and night over 2 weeks. And in 2 weeks' time, you could not tell there was ever even a cut there. To this day, you have to use like a magnifying glass to see just a tiny, tiny little bit of scar.
Yeah.
And no nerve damage. During the healing, I could feel numbness. I could feel there was nerve damage. But by the time it was healed in 2 weeks' time, which is very rapid for for a wound like that, it was truly a remarkable experience. I burned my knuckles on a hot oven rack. I get it, put it on there. Pain's gone. The burning sensation is typically gone in under a minute, and a day or two later, you can't even tell it ever happened. It's really amazing. So why does that happen? Well, it's a good time to jump into the active ingredient. The active ingredient, as I said, patented under the name of Metadichol, is what we call a nanoemulsion of policosanol, which is easy for me to say, and you don't have to remember that.
Good, because I don't want to say that.
Yeah, right. So polycosanol is a series of long-chain lipid alcohols that make up a molecule that is found in unrefined foods and plant life. It's ubiquitous. It's everywhere. In fact, when you see water beat up on plant leaves and roll off, it doesn't absorb in that little waxy coating that's kind of on plant leaves. That's polycosanol. It's everywhere. Now, here's what's interesting. There are a number of health supplements available around the world that have polycosanol in them in its coarse form. And they're recognized as having the potential to do one thing, which is help lower bad cholesterol. What the inventor of these products did, Dr. Raghavan, or Raghu as we often refer to him, after a career as an organic chemist in the pharmaceutical industry, he went on a mission to find what he believed would be the one natural element on this planet that would prompt the body to heal itself of anything. Now, these products, they don't treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Right.
It's a tool that they use to prompt the body to do that work for itself. And what he achieved during that journey was the understanding of this polycosanol, and that there's a tiny bit of this polycosanol that exists in unrefined food in a nanoemulsion. And that's simply the reference to size. So he stabilized this molecule at less than 60 nanometers in size. And to put that in perspective, that's about half the size of a typical virus. So when you consume this product, when you use this product, it literally, this active ingredient penetrates every cell in your body to the nucleus of the cell. Very few things are small enough to do that. And when that happens, our bodies wake up at the cellular level and start doing things we've never even imagined possible. They start taking care of themselves in ways we've never imagined possible. This little active ingredient doesn't care what a person's issue is. The body uses it as a tool to start bringing things into balance and to clear things that don't represent optimal health, to clear, toxins and all kinds of stuff that we're bombarded with every day. You walk outside your door and we're constantly subjected to things that are detrimental to our health. And as a natural product derived from, we extract the policosanol from unrefined sugarcane. That's one food that happens to have a very large amount and more easily extracted. Rice is another. But it's pretty much everywhere in nature. And so having stabilized that in a way that is consistent is what led to the patents that are on this product. And it's truly amazing.
Yeah, because we were always told that if it exists in nature, it can't be patented.
Right. And so policosanol is not what's patented. It is the result of being stabilized at a nanoemulsion size and how the body responds to it. That is what the patent is based on. So you say
nano. It's hard for me to imagine what that is and how that impacts my body. Like, what makes something a nano size and that absorbs better than something else?
Yeah, good question. So I would answer that so you can, I think, have a better understanding. If you dissolve sugar into water, for example, you can no longer see the sugar, but it's still there. It's because it becomes so small that it's no longer visible. It is, like I said, a reference to size. So in order to get something inside one of your cells, particularly to the nucleus, it has to be microscopic, extremely small. As I said, very few things can be stabilized in that way. In fact, one of the reasons we manufacture this product in Switzerland for a couple of reasons. One, their manufacturing practices are extremely good. But another primary factor is that, first of all, policosanol is a waxy substance. Getting it to play nicely with water in the first place is not an easy thing to do. Wax and water don't get along.
Yeah.
And you can't use just any type of water to maintain this stable nanoemulsion, as it's referred to. You have to use a very specific type of water. In fact, along the journey, if you will, that Dr. Raghavan took of discovery, he is of Indian culture heritage, and he had visited India on this path, doing some research, and he came across a text of 5,600 years old called the Rig Veda. It's an ancient Hindu text. In the Rig Veda, there are over 260 words that describe water. And for you and me, we've got water and we got water. Maybe we got distilled water. We got, a couple of different references.
Yeah.
One of the references to water in this text is pristine water. And the reference within this text was people consuming pristine water and experiencing longer life, better health, lack of disease, illness. And so he basically hired a Hindu scholar to interpret exactly what this word pristine referenced. And it's interesting because it technically referenced the specific glacial meltwaters found on Mount Kailash. Now, Mount Kailash is believed to be the earthly home of the Hindu god Shiva and others, very spiritual place. It's in the Tibet region of China. You can visit it, you can walk around it, you cannot ascend it. So he had to figure out what it is about this water that makes it so special. And he was able to do that. And then he had to start testing water sources around the world. And it turns out that the glacial meltwater from the Swiss Alps is the same type of water construct. And you you can't use just any water. The stability of what he's developed, it doesn't stay intact. And so the water is critical to maintain this. And literally in one bottle, it's so small, there's literally billions of that nanoemulsion, that little tiny particulate. In fact, I can't share it on screen. Zoom doesn't let me do that, but I'll send you a link to about a minute and a half long video. A blood microscopist in London who also puts product under magnification to see what's going on.
Right.
She did a magnification of nanosoma at 1,600 times magnified. And when you look at this, you can see these little nanoemulsion particles. It looks like life teeming in the galaxy. It's amazing. It's really mind-blowing. And it really shows, like, you can, I can see and feel the life force energy of this product. It's truly, truly remarkable. So that is the reference to size, the nanoemulsion. A lot of people hear the word nano and they jump to technology, and they jump to, because there's a lot of bad nano out there, right? We hear it all the time, especially since 2020. We all know what we learned, and many people knew what we learned before the bulk of us, myself included, really began to understand. There is a lot of nanotechnology out there. That is not what this is. This has nothing to do with it. It's simply a reference to size of this natural molecule found in plant life and unrefined foods.
Now, because we're here, this product, does that also help people to detox?
Absolutely.
Any non-biological and biological technology that may be in their bodies?
Yeah, there are a number of testimonials. There's a study a person in Canada did who, I don't have the timeline memorized. I want to say 2021. He never had the jab, and he had very limited his contact best he could to any potential shedding, any of this stuff that we all know exists. And he became convinced early on in 2021, that's what I'm going to go with, I'm pretty certain of that. He became convinced of other means by which to deliver this negative, whatever it was going to be, that's found in these jabs. And by aerial assault, whatever. So he went and had his blood tested. And I'll send you a document. It has this all lined out. It's pretty fascinating, including the blood work he had done, all on his own volition.
And I will attest to the dark field microscopy, because I've worked with other technicians and professionals, doctors, who have looked at blood before and after healings that I've done, and it's remarkable, what you can see with this equipment.
Yeah. So he had his blood done, tested, blood microscopy done, and it totally clean, totally normal, as you would expect. And about a month later, after he was convinced of a particular timeline, and he shares all this information in his written outcome, I guess, or his story. About a month later, he figured, okay, probably going to show contamination, and so he went and had more work done. And suddenly there are these long striations in his blood, all of the stuff that we've seen. This shouldn't be there. And he knew about nanosoma. So one of the reasons he was doing this, he started using nanosoma on an aggressive use protocol, because we know from lab work that Dr. Raghavan has done, he's constantly having this product blind studied in various labs around the world for various reasons, and to find out, what it may or may not do in any given situation. So this person, Gary is his name, he started using nanosoma in another month. He had more blood work done, and all of those foreign elements were gone. So to be thorough, he stopped using it.
Right.
did more blood work. They were back. He started using it again, and it was gone. It's a pretty interesting and detailed account. That's just one example. There's a study that Dr. Raghavan shared a number of years ago, probably about 5 years ago now, I want to say, that in a blind lab study showed that in the presence of this active ingredient using nanosoma, your body manifests a gene that biodegrades graphene oxide, as an example. We actually have a jab clearing protocol that people receive when you place an order. You get a detailed email that has a variety of use protocols and links to other protocols. Very aggressive use for being sick with whatever it might be. And I'm pretty blessed to be in good health. I rarely get sick. I've had a couple of instances of really, really aggressive fever, flu symptoms, and I take nanosoma every hour on the hour in those cases that I'm conscious. And the last time it happened was a few years ago, and it was gone in 2 days. I was better.
Wow.
I mean, the kind of sickness you'd think would have you laid up for a week and a half just from a loss of energy.
Wow.
But I just, I know the product. I've used the product, even being in good health. When I started using it, my wife and I have a wellness center here in the central Kentucky area where we're based. She's an acupuncturist, and nanosoma came to us by recommendation as a potential product for the center. We're always looking for innovative and natural things to carry. And so we did our research and decided we'd try it. And when we got it, first week of January 2021, so almost 5 years ago now, our first question to ourselves is, how are we even going to know if this works? Because we're in good health. I don't know how to evaluate it. Most people who tend to embrace nanosoma are actually looking for a solution to some health issue that they've been dealing with. It wasn't the case for us. I can tell you immediately on receiving it, just holding it in my hands, and you'll appreciate this as a quantum healer, I could feel a very powerful connection to it. Can't describe in detail what that was, but I could feel an energy to it. I could feel a connection to it. And I started using it. I noticed immediately, for me, pretty bad taste, which is interesting because there's no taste or smell to the product.
Interesting.
And we know that that bad taste, which for some people never exists. Some people it's, bitter or soapy. For me, it was a little on the rancid side. Must have been in pretty toxic shape. I don't know. That is your body immediately responding to the active ingredient. It took about 3 months and it went away after that. I still get, this is what's very interesting. It's been almost 5 years now, so I've had plenty of time to nerd out on this sort of thing, but I will get occasionally a hint of that taste these days. And so a few years ago, I started tracking my environmental surroundings, what I had eaten, where I was, when I would get a hint of that taste. And I can tell you every single time, and I know it's everywhere, but especially here, we get hammered with chemtrails. Every single time within a day or two of a heavy chemtrail day, I get that taste comes back. And it doesn't last more than a few days. If we eat at a restaurant, we try to eat very clean. We grow as much of our food as we can. We're very selective in what we put in our bodies. But you go out to eat, the bulk of it's going to be processed foods, no matter how hard you try to go to clean restaurants. Every time we eat at a place we think is good, wake up the next day, I get that taste. I know that I've eaten processed foods. And it's a simple matter of things knocking us out of health balance. That's really what that taste is all about. Right. And within a couple of days, back to normal. Tastes like water. Took my nanosoma this morning. It's on my desk here. No taste at all. Good shape. Yeah. So interesting stuff.
Yeah, I'm curious because I just watched something this morning, and it, your feed, the algorithms always on your social media change depending upon what's going on in your life and whatever it's listening to. And I'm going to become a grandmother, and this thing came in about all these heavy metals and toxins in baby food. And all our processed food. And I thought, I don't want to start naming names, but the very popular, common ones that you see on the shelves, and even ones that started out as organic and made from these smaller companies that got bought out. And unless you research, you don't know that they changed the ingredients. Because I saw that happen with a popular deodorant I was using, and all of a sudden it always claimed no aluminum. And then I saw, I bought it, and then all of a sudden I saw this little, thing that said contains aluminum. I'm like, whoa, 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 wait.
Yeah.
So from the standpoint of detoxing, what age, are we able to use this? Have they done any testing? How old,
Yeah, it's considered food. Actually, it's manufactured. The company manufacturer in Switzerland is a food product manufacturer.
Yeah.
So, for example, the cream, the topical gel can be ingested. Even though it's a topical gel, it's thick, so you put it on your gums, toothache, whatever. The cream, for example, that's not ingestible. That's actually manufactured from the gel. The gel is made from the liquid. The cream is made from the gel. There's other things added in there, but the cream is actually manufactured at a different plant because the primary manufacturer doesn't manufacture anything but food. All of that to say, we have clients that give it to their infants. They might just a drop. You don't need much.
Yeah.
Children, sometimes a lot of people will just, put a couple of squirts in a glass of juice. You don't want to let it hang around because it'll start actually.
But you could actually put it in juice or water or something where they can take it. Yeah.
Yeah. One of the things, it's not an official protocol because we haven't really done any studies, but it's more of an energetic healing kind of thing. Is we have found through user feedback that if you put a spray or two in your belly button, it seems to accelerate it. Doesn't surprise me because that's the source of our life of nutrients as infants when we're when we're being carried, when we're in the womb. And belly button is a very, very powerful entry point in energetic healing for sure. And so people get creative with it, and we get a lot of feedback. Another bit of feedback we got was that with the gel, that xanthan gum that's in there, it does thicken it, but it can be a little drying on the skin. And so we always recommend now, again, not an official protocol, but we do recommend, just moisten the skin a little bit where you're going to put it on. Like you get done with the shower, you've dried off with the towel, but there's a tiny little bit of moisture barrier, about like that, not like wet. I promise you, I started doing that. My colleague who manages our European division, this actually came from him. Was a 30-year naturopathic doctor, and he started getting feedback from clients about like using it when their skin was moist, and they said the results seem to be better, and I don't get that dry sensation on my skin. So I've started doing that. If I have a topical need, I'll just moisten the skin a little, and I have to say it's consistent. It seems to work better.
I haven't had any. I haven't felt that at all. Especially, my ritual was I take a shower, right? And so my skin was, but that was part of my morning ritual to put it on my toe every day. Yeah. And then at the end of the day, if there was if I would remember, I would put it on again before I went to bed to keep, the pain down. Mm-hmm. But it was remarkable. It was noticeable, and I never felt it drying anything out, but maybe that was just the skin on my toe versus another part of the body.
Everyone has their own unique response. Yeah. The skin cream is a water-based moisturizer cream with that active ingredient in it. And I can tell you that I have used the gel on my face before we had the skin cream developed.
Right.
When NANO SOMA came into my life 5 years ago, or just about, all there was the liquid spray. We didn't have the gel. We didn't have the cream. So for topical issues, you just spray it on there. It would roll off. But you did the best you can to kind of get it to absorb. And then we developed the gel and eventually the cream. So I will get, this time of the year, I'll get a little rosacea spot on my cheek, and I started by putting the gel on there. It would clear pretty fast. Now that we have the skin cream, it's a world of difference. The skin on our face, the backs of our hands, décolletage area, is much more delicate than other areas. And if you use a water-based moisturizer cream, which most moisturizer creams are oil-based, all you're doing is putting a barrier over your skin's pores that keeps your skin from breathing. When you use a water-based, you're actually hydrating your skin and you're delivering that active ingredient right into the cells of your skin. So around your eyes, all of that. And there's reasons for what happens. Like people experience fine lines and wrinkles fading. I know you've got a story about that. And I want to talk about the why of that before you share your story. And it's really important because primarily with NANO SOMA liquid, as I said, I'm blessed with good health. I will take it for the rest of my life, every day, because I understand a couple of very, very key fundamentals about it. And these are the patents. And it's patented across 80% of the populated globe. And you know you can't get a patent if the outcome is not an absolute. Like right. It's not going to happen. So one of the patents is that when this active ingredient is present in our bodies as human beings begin to produce their own vitamin C endogenously. Okay. Human beings don't make vitamin C. We're one of about 5 or 6 mammals that don't produce their own endogenous vitamin C. That's critical because we get vitamin C through the foods we eat and through supplementation. But here's the rub. You can't take enough vitamin C supplementation to have the level your body really needs because your body knows it isn't its own. And it clears a large amount of that. So you can keep taking it and taking it and taking it, but the body says, wait a minute, that's not mine. That's synthetic. That's foreign. I'm going to get rid of it. Just like insulin patients are typically given 20 plus times the amount of insulin that is intended to stay in their body because medical science and research knows the body sees it as foreign and the body clears and flushes a large degree of it. So when you use this product, the body with this active ingredient uses it to begin reoxidizing the vitamin C we get naturally into more vitamin C that it has made for itself. And so you will see your vitamin C levels increase, and it's natural vitamin C. Now, when I talk about that, I mean, that is profound that can happen. Right. And so having an understanding of that, I know that vitamin C is the key to the functioning of my immune system, which is why I rarely get sick, which is why I rarely have any issues like that. Because I've got the right amount of vitamin C because my body's making it for itself. That is enough for me to use this product every day for the rest of my life. When I come back and talk about the skin cream and I talk about fine lines and wrinkles fading, well, what we know is that vitamin C is what builds collagen. And we know collagen tightens and firms skin. So the body is literally taking this active ingredient into the cells of your skin and starting to produce vitamin C localized and collagen localized. And so we see the skin suddenly starting to have a more youthful glow, a youthful appearance, and those fine lines and wrinkles starting to smooth out, age spots fading. And I know you've had an experience with that.
Yeah, so, and just to let people know, because I don't have a problem with this, I literally, a couple of weeks ago, turned 63.
You're looking pretty darn good.
Well, thank you. A couple of weeks ago, all of a sudden, I don't know if it was food poisoning or whatever, but all of a sudden, I just got violently ill. And I was throwing up, and I was so sick, I couldn't get out of my car to get in the house, and I had grocery bags in the car. And I never do this, but I called a friend, and she called another friend, and they both came over, and I was laying on the couch, and I literally had enough energy to open my eyes and take a sip of water and close my eyes. So I was really out of it. And they were talking, and they're helping, and they're wiping my brow, and I'm like in this dazed state, and I hear them going, "She doesn't have any wrinkles on her forehead. What? Look at her skin. Look how beautiful it is." And I'm like laying there going, are they really talking about that I don't have wrinkles on my forehead? I'm like, or am I just dreaming this? So the next day I contacted one of my friends. I'm like, were you two talking about the fact that I didn't have any wrinkles on my forehead? They're like, yeah, what's up with that? I was like, I'm so glad that was so important to you while I was so sick.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah, and we have people send us photos of the changes in their
Yeah,
skin as a result of using the skin cream, and it's a beautiful texture. It's extremely smooth, as you know, and
it
has
is.
a very nice vanilla scent, and everything about it is all natural. Even the vanilla is sourced from organic vanilla beans in Madagascar that they extract the oil from. So it's pretty amazing. I want to talk about another patent on this product, Lisa, which is, you know, probably and arguably even more profound than the vitamin C production. So we have, an infinite number of cells in our body. I don't know how many, but it's a lot. I'm not a medical background person,
Right.
so just want to be clear on that. I know these products, and I've read so much of the research about it, and I understand the patents. So within most of our cells, we have nuclear receptors. They're right in the center of the cell. And there's some discussion if there's 48 or 49 different nuclear receptors throughout our body. But suffice to say, there's a solid at least 48, might be a 49th one. Things like your vitamin D nuclear receptor, your thyroid nuclear receptor, and so on. So one of the patents is that when you have this active ingredient present, your body uses it as a tool to regulate, specifically in this patent, the vitamin D nuclear receptor. And we now know from further research that your body uses it to regulate all of the nuclear receptors in our bodies. That's key to getting it into the center of the cell, all the way to the nucleus. Now, to my knowledge, there's nothing else known to regulate a single nuclear receptor. So, for example, people with hyperthyroid issues or hypothyroid issues, those are the result of an imbalance of the thyroid nuclear receptor. When you're using this product, the thyroid nuclear receptor, your body's going to use that active ingredient as a tool to bring it to balance, up or down.
Yeah.
And the issues associated with those conditions begin to normalize. And the timeline in which that happens is unique and different for everyone. There are some people have rapid response. But the body, we know, basically wakes up at that cellular level when you begin using the products, and in layperson's terms, basically conducts a triage of what's not right from a health perspective. And the body chooses what it needs to work on first. So we go to a great deal of effort to help people understand that you may start using the product because you want X issue to normalize.
Right.
But the body may be over here fixing something you have no idea about that could in fact be contributing to X issue over here. The patterns show us that the more life-threatening issues get dealt with first. There are cases where, and pretty common, people with life-threatening high blood pressure, for example, medicated, don't take your medication, you might die. Serious. We have seen that consistently begin to normalize in weeks to short months.
Wow.
Whereas people with nuisance high blood pressure, it's an issue, it's managed, might be on medication, probably are not likely to kill them, but difficult to get under control. We see that consistently take 6 to 9 months before it normalizes. So the outcome and the timeline is unique for everybody. Healing is a journey, and everyone's journey is unique, their own. There are other factors on that path to wellness. Diet is huge. I've literally told more people than I can count, you can use this product, you can go through a bottle of it a day, it's not going to hurt you. You can take that much of it. You can't take too much of it. The only thing it'll hurt is your pocketbook if you want to go through it like that. However, if you're eating fast food or processed food 3 times a day, your body has nothing to work with.
Right.
So when you're using a product that is profound like this, that actually activates the body's healing mechanisms at the cellular level, the body wants to use the other elements within it that we get from foods that we eat. So diet, hydration is key. What kind of water are you drinking? How much water are you drinking? It's a whole wheel of things that the body needs to draw from. This is a tool that gives the body the ability to really start functioning well. But if you're not giving it the other tools it needs, it's going to be a different timeline for you than it may be for somebody else.
Because your body starts going into I don't want to use fight or flight, but it's in this repair mode that's constantly trying to get to a baseline instead of doing the actual age reversal and getting you to another level. So, yeah, I mean, if you want to sit around and eat a bag of, processed potato chips or whatever garbage food, it's interesting because you talk about the vitamin D and also thyroid. Most perimenopausal and postmenopausal women have thyroid issues, right? They're everything gets out of whack. If you live in the Northeast or the North, anywhere, vitamin D production is a real problem because we don't get enough sun. And I live in Vermont, which I love, but someone just gave me a statistic that we only get something like 56 days of full sun a year. And you can't, like all winter long, it's overcast, it's snowing all the time.
Right.
So your body, you have to supplement. It's nice if you can get it all through your foods and everything, but when this becomes more efficient for you, it's really, really powerful.
Yeah, and that patent with, regulating that vitamin D nuclear receptor is really, really key. And again, people send us test results. It's very common. When you start using this product, we've had clients get baseline blood work done before they started using it because they've done their research. Our information site has all the stuff on it. You can read all these patents. You can read. There's so many more available that we haven't put online, but we're always adding them. Research papers. There's a paper on the vitamin D, the vitamin C, how it's working, how it's doing it. All that information is available, but it is very common that people will get a baseline blood work done for vitamin D, vitamin C, and even just a month later, do it again. Vitamin D levels increase, vitamin C levels increase. Because your body is, with the vitamin D nuclear receptor, the way that works, the body uses the vitamin D that you get naturally, whatever level you have, to activate the vitamin D nuclear receptor. When you have this product present, the body changes its operational plan and it begins to use this active ingredient preferentially to activate and regulate the vitamin D nuclear receptor. So it's not using that vitamin D naturally for that purpose anymore. So you see that level increase. And the body will use that for other purposes, which is fascinating. So, for example, if you have an overactive vitamin D nuclear receptor, and this is why regulating is key, there are a lot of negative health outcomes that can happen. One, your body can begin producing a protein called TNF alpha. That is believed to be one of many potential trigger points to early onset Parkinson's disease. So that's not good, but you can't regulate it. When you have this product present, the body, and this patent tells us this, the body will dial it back if it needs to. If it's underperforming, it'll increase its output. If it needs to be turned off, it'll turn it off. It's the body is operating at an innate level of knowledge that it just hasn't had the right tool to be able to do. The body was given all of the knowledge it needs to operate and take care of itself. But over time, and culture and diet and all these things and all of the things we're bombarded with that are detrimental to our health, the systems in our bodies do not function as well as they can. And that actually, an interesting point, among many other factors, is that because we know through our lifetime the mitochondria within our cells gets damaged, gets weakened, every cell in your body has a measurable electric charge. I mean, it takes energy for us to exist. So if you don't have an electrical charge in your cells, you don't have a life. You're not alive anymore.
Right.
And that's just it. Nothing can function without energy. But as we go through life and the mitochondria is weakened and damaged, we start losing cellular energy. And as we lose cellular energy, those systems don't have the energy to function properly. We become susceptible to illness and disease. If you can begin to restore the integrity of the mitochondria and begin to increase the cellular charge, the energy charge within your cells, systems in your body now start functioning properly again or better than they had, and the body now starts to correct things. Well, it just so happens that with this active ingredient, that's exactly what happens. The body begins to repair the integrity of the mitochondria. Cellular energy starts to increase. Body systems begin to function the way they were intended and designed to do. And that's why we start seeing the positive health outcomes that we see.
Right.
It's that the body now has the energy to function as well as it can. And again, that's a journey, that's a process. Some people respond really quickly. In fact, part of our use protocols includes a paragraph about the potential for healing crisis. Some people's bodies get so excited they now want to clear everything, and they have symptoms. So the body goes into hyperdrive of getting rid of stuff, detoxifying stuff, clearing things. We've had customers with skin issues like eczema or psoriasis have a total outbreak when they begin using the product. And that can be very scary. And so we have a protocol that suggests backing down how much you're using. We don't want anybody to go through anything. But knowledge is power. And if you understand this, what happens is once you go through it, they're cleared, they're gone, they don't come back. In fact, the CEO of our company, who I work with, when she started using this, she dealt with the shingles virus for quite a while in her life.
I can't even imagine.
And and it's horrible. I'm grateful that I haven't had to deal with that. But she started using NANO SOMA, and I don't know, about 6 years ago, actually before it came to market, the founder of the company, Dr. Richard Presser, who's in Melbourne, Australia, and our CEO now, have known each other for a while, and he actually needed her help to get the US business launched because, he's in Australia. So it's challenging.
It's a long way.
He sent her some samples of the product, some protocols. She started using it. She had a huge shingles outbreak. She understood what was happening. And as she got through that, and as that outbreak cleared, it was gone. She's been tested multiple times since then. There's no sign that she ever even had the shingles virus, which we're told doesn't happen. We're told that that's not possible. You can only be treated for that. And, that's a personal account of
but that tells me that it's working at a quantum level.
Absolutely.
Because I actually, I do these healings, and we worked with a doctor on the West Coast, and we had 15 people who all had their blood checked. And they do the dried blood, and then they do live blood. So you're seeing the blood, in real time, and then you have the dried blood, and the dried blood can actually go back in time when they read it and say, in your 20s you had this issue, in your 30s you had this issue. And there was one of the people who had his blood looked at. Before the healing, he had 3 out of the 4 layers of dried blood showed significant prostate issues. After the healing, the quantum healing, they went back and checked his blood. There was no trace of the significant prostate issues going back in time. So this is how the quantum field works. So that tells me that this is also working in the quantum realm, which is really fascinating.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's fascinating. You and I will have offline discussions about it, I'm sure. My wife and I, we follow a person that, just to be appropriate, I won't mention names here, but serious level meditation master, but teaches very scientifically what's happening.
Yeah.
And it is the quantum and shifting the reality. Suddenly, the things that you've dealt with when you're doing this and making progress doing this, just like you went with your quantum healing, when you change the present, the past changes with it. Exactly. Like everything does.
And the future changes too.
And the future changes with it as well. So you end up in a reality that those other things no longer fit with.
I just watched something that there's a meditation that you can do. This was so interesting because aging, do you ever notice that people who have had really hard lives age faster? Than people who don't? Or when people do a lot of work on themselves, because I was suicidal. I mean, I had a really, really rough time of it. But as I've worked on myself and released it, what you're actually doing is releasing time loops, which then allow your cells to heal themselves. So they're not busy repeating in this loop.
Right.
They can start to heal. So the combination of all of these things, working on your mindset, working at the quantum level, you are literally reversing time. You're giving your body, like I've noticed, I've been working out, the level of my workouts have increased. I'm stronger. My skin feels different. And I've been using all three products. I've been using the spray. I've been using the, the gel, and the moisturizer. And, I do other things too. It's not the only thing that I do.
Sure.
But I found that this has helped take me to another level. It's boosted things. Because the other things that I was doing were consistent over a couple of years. And all of a sudden I noticed that my skin got even younger looking, and workouts. And the skin on my legs. I mean, as we age, everything changes so much. It's really maddening.
Yeah.
My brain is like, wait a minute. No. How did I just turn that age? Yeah. No, I'm about to become a grandmother. What?
Yeah, we've got probably more than just one, but on our website, in the list of research papers you can access, and it is a multiple click. There's some rules about having stuff on one site and the removal. And Dr. Raghavan has his own research site where everything is housed, and so you end up there. But one of the tests that he's done, one of the many tests that he's done, is the interaction with the body and this active ingredient and the impact on the telomeres, our age gene. And it's an absolute, when you begin using this product, the telomeres, they shorten from the time we're born. They just, every time they recycle, the cells recycle, they shorten. And that's how we age. And depending on the conditions of your life, some people experience a more rapid shortening of them, and that manifests in our physical appearance and all that. I mean, I'm 55. I look good. I feel good. I think I look good. I know I feel good. I feel better than I've ever felt in my life. I feel more 30-something than I ever have. And that's across the board. That's from how grounded I am, my cognitive function, my physical feeling, my energy reserves, all of these things. And that was a noticeable shift when I started using it. Back to what I said earlier in the conversation about how are we going to know if this is even doing anything. I noticed right away I started sleeping better and I was waking better. I for my whole adult life, I mean, just a chronic snooze button hitter. I mean, I would hit that thing 50 times if I could get away with it. And now it's common, but as soon as I started using this, I realized that I was waking up like 5 minutes before my alarm was supposed to go off. Oh, wow. And I was ready to wake up. Like I was ready, motivated physically to get up. I'd never experienced that before. That was one of the things I noticed. And then I started paying attention to things like, my cognitive function, which was always good, but it seemed like I was more balanced. I was more focused. I had more deeper sense of energy reserves throughout the day, not getting that 3 o'clock in the afternoon energy crash where I wanted to go get a coffee or something sweet or whatever. Just more balance overall. And, now 5 years on, I've never felt more 30-something in my life. And I remember what I felt like in my 30s not that long ago. And, I remember that. Yeah. But I feel so much more balanced and grounded and all of that. All of that to say, Dr. Raghavan, the inventor of this, he is 72 or 73 years old. And he had the foresight to start having his biological age equivalent measured, because he knew this would be an outcome of this. He knew that it would have an impact on the telomeres, a positive impact. And now he finished the development on this about 14 years ago. It was originally released in India, his home country, and it's very well accepted there in the medical field and all that. And there's some amazing outcomes that are available. And he's got 14 years of testimonials collected. Anyway, he started having his biological age equivalent measured every few years. And so he's 72, 73 years old now. He got white hair, grandpa bod, but he's in good shape. So physically he's still, it's not like we reverse the physical aging. We're not Benjamin Buttoning here,
Right.
What's happening is over time, his biological age markers have consistently reduced. And the last time he had his age tested that I'm aware of was probably at least 4 years ago during the whole COVID scamdemic. All those labs stopped doing that. You couldn't get those tests done. You can get them now. I'm really curious about mine, but they're about $500, and I'm just not that curious.
Right.
So I know how I feel. That's good enough. But the last time that I am aware he had it measured, so called 69 years old for him. He had the age equivalent of a 48-year-old male. The time he did
Amazing.
it 2 years before that, he had the age equivalent of a 52-year-old male.
Wow.
So he plays competitive level badminton against 20-somethings 15 hours a week, I think. And he's, they're all huffing and puffing, and he's ready for more. He's not a gym rat. He doesn't look like a gym rat, but he's got that stamina. He's got that youthfulness about him. I asked him once where he thinks, like, when will that stop? When will that level out? And, his answer was, he thinks it's gonna sort of stabilize late 30s, early 40s, kind of the sweet spot of our lifespan. And I look forward to seeing that. I think that, one of the things, getting back to that Rig Veda text and this pristine water, one of the references was consuming this pristine water. And there was no processed food then either. So people were getting a portion of this nano emulsion naturally, which we don't, because everything's processed. This little policosanol, it gets eliminated when you cook or refine food. It's not left, that we can't get it.
Right.
Outside of raw fruits and vegetables, raw things that we may eat, you get a little bit of it, but not enough. So I think it'll be interesting, because that reference was about people living extended life and, having longer lifespans and better health and all of that. It's just, there's so many aspects to these products. And what I love is that they don't care what a person's dealing with. It's going to bring the body to balance over time, ultimately bring us to a state of homeostasis.
Right.
And Dr. Raghavan's guideline for people, and it's only a guideline because it is variable, is that people should allow 2 to 3 weeks of use of NANO SOMA, daily use, for every year you've dealt with an issue. In fact, I'll wrap up my portion here, because I know I don't want to run over too long, sharing a mutual friend of ours story, which is remarkable. Scott Sachs, who we both know well. When he came into our path as a company, Scott and I met a few years before on a unrelated topic and marketing. There was an Arise Freedom Tour coming through the area, and our wellness center, we sponsored it, hosted it here where we are. It was a wonderful opportunity. But that's how I got to meet him. And then with his marketing background, he came into into partnership with our company to help us on some projects. And we always want people to use the product. That's our mission.
Right.
So we asked him to start using it. He and Dr. Presser, the founder of the company, started talking, and apparently Scott had dealt with pretty severe neuropathy for about 10 years and had tried everything, and just, it was just part of his life that makes life very uncomfortable. Anybody out there dealing with that would know. And so Richard put him on a aggressive use protocol, meaning and that's what you'll see in the protocols you get as people dealing with an active health concern. We recommend 5 sprays of the NANO SOMA liquid 4 times a day. Regular use, what I take is 5 sprays once a day. But it's not permanent, that 5 sprays 4 times a day. It's kind of getting things moving, getting the body jump started in the right direction. Well, Scott did that, and he said, okay, 2 to 3 weeks of use for every year, 10 years, 20, 30 weeks. I guess that's a drop in the bucket if I actually get past this. And he shares his story and his experience as waking up one day, 6 weeks to the day actually, of using this product, and walking from one end of his condo to the other to make his bedrooms on one end, coffee pots on the other. And about halfway across his condo, he stops with the sudden realization that there was no burning sensation in his lower extremities, gone. Little numbness left, which eventually went away within a few months. But that burning sensation, he has no symptoms of neuropathy today. This is a year and a half or a little more than that ago. And it's a wonderful story. I mean, what an outcome. I mean, that's life changing. That gives a person their life back.
I got a chance to, I happened to be in Mexico, and he lives in Mexico, and I contacted him because we had, when it's so cool when you have these friends online that you finally get to meet them in person. So we hung out, and he told me his story about the neuropathy and how it changed his life, and I was blown away by his story. I just thought it was extraordinary. Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. And thrilled to have you working with us to help get the word out through the I Want My Health Back movement. And definitely want to make sure that your audience knows where to go. And that's iwantmyhealthback.com/Lisa Mindset. It's important that you use that. We appreciate Lisa's partnership and her experience and all of that. It's real world experience that matters. And if we can help bring this product to more and more people, we change lives.
Yeah. No, I'm a believer. As I said, I wanted to try it before I even talked about it. And it's probably been about 2 months, I think, for myself, because I had that trip. And thank God for that gel, because it got me through my trip. Because can you imagine, people are walking 15, 17,000 steps a day, where I was with a group and I was able to keep up with them. My trip would have been ruined.
Yeah.
So, and everything healed. Everything healed. Yes. It was all good.
Yes. Yeah. And we've got different product packs available with discounts on volume. It's important for people to really understand that healing is a journey, and it does take a little time. We've got what we call a starter pack that has 3 bottles of NANO SOMA, 1 topical gel, and 1 of the skin cream, and I think it's a 15% discount. And we just want to help people experience all of these products, but especially with the liquid. Anytime you introduce anything to change where you are from a health perspective, you really should allow at least 90 days. And
absolutely,
most people, I look online, particularly at the partners like yourself that we work with. And I see now, just the other day, I saw customers who came in from the I Want My Health Back movement, like 23 orders in, 18 orders in, 14 orders in. You don't keep ordering something if it's not changing your life. And when I see that, I mean, our company, we want to grow. That growth will come by delivering the right results for the right reasons, and to help bring these amazing products to the world is a gift. It's an honor for me. It's the professional privilege of my life, and the product showed up on my doorstep as a recommendation. And then I had known for a good 5 years I was meant to transition out of my former career. I just had no idea what it was going to look like, so I just left it in Spirit Source's hands.
That's how it works.
Asked for that path to illuminate when it was time. And then I started talking to Richard Presser about the product as a reseller, which it's on our shelf right outside my office here. We still have it in our wellness center, and it's been amazing. And just started talking to him one day. I asked him, like, how are you operating a US based business from Australia? And he's like, well, I had somebody helping and it didn't work out. And it's really difficult. I mean, they're 14, 16 hours ahead of us, I mean, I always told him, every time I talk to you, it's nice to know my future is intact, because I'll be there tomorrow.
They're already the next day. I know, it's really funny. I work with a lot of people in Australia. It's pretty funny. Like, how did Tuesday go? You're already in Wednesday.
Exactly. Yeah. So, we just started talking, and I said, if you need help, I can, here's my background, this is what I do, and, business background, whatever. I don't know anything about the supplement industry, but I'm, pretty smart guy. I can figure things out, and started doing some one-off jobs and building some trust. And in May of 2021, it was just obvious it was time. The business was 10xing, and which was a beautiful thing to see. And I'm like, it's time. You need full-time help, and this transition, I'm ready for it. Let's do it. And it's been a blessing since then to be able to help bring these products to the world, and certainly here in the Americas, it's a true joy because I get to see the transformations. I see that, and I get to work with people like yourselves and come and have a conversation about these products. It's wonderful.
Well, thank you so much, and I'm really excited. I really love it. I'm a user. You can see I'm almost out in this bottle.
Yep. I know, me too.
I have another bottle upstairs.
Well, yeah. Well, it's winter. It's winter time and cold and flu season, and we're a wellness center. People bring things in and they leave things behind. So I've been on a 10 spray a day kick. Even though I know I don't need it, psychologically I just go with it. I energetically feel it like, all right, I'm just going to stay with the 10 sprays a day, and that's fine. So yeah, there you have it.
Well, thank you, Sean, for giving us all the science behind it, because I think it's really important for people to understand what they're taking and why it works, not just, hey, it works, because that's all I can say.
Yes. Yeah, and there's, we'll have we can have another conversation down the road where we can talk about some of the other interesting aspects about these products, because there are so many, and it's a lot to take in. So
it is. But I invite people, if they have any questions, they can message me, and I'm happy to talk about the products and my own personal experience. And, again, I'm 63. I mean, I'm thrilled at the way my face looks. I mean, I don't have any filters on my camera. This is me. So feels pretty good. It feels pretty good.
Yeah. And you'll post. People will be able to see where to click and
yes,
go.
I'm going to put the link so they'll be able to go to the I Want My Health Back. Was it /.com/ Lisa Mindset?
Lisa Mindset. Yeah,
so we'll have that in.
Awesome. Yeah, that's
right.
Wonderful. It's been an honor to be with you. I look forward to talking again, and keep up the wonderful work you do, Lisa.
Thank you. You too, Sean.
All right.